Welcome once more to the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Today's focus is going to be the ludicrous amounts of money being spread around on this presidential campaign. I mean, just how much money does one need? And then what do they do with it? I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and I guess we better go to the bank because this one is going to be kind of costly. It's just mind-boggling that the money, that is in these political candidacies or campaigns, it's just nuts. And then what do they do with it? They put up commercials that try to impugn the other candidate or just try to destroy them totally. I realize that things do cost money, and presidential candidates are not, indifferent to that. But I mean, you look at O'Bastard. He goes around to various places. He was just here, I believe, last week or the week before, gathering up money for the campaigns to help Slithery Clinton. Something to the tune of $45,000 a plate. Now, if I had that kind of money, I wouldn't pay $45,000 a plate to sit with O'Bastard. In fact, let it be known, I wouldn't pay 45 cents to sit and eat with him. But, it's just insane. They come and they gather up all this money, and some of these dinners are kind of packed, upwards of 100, maybe 200 people. Now, if you do the math, 45,000 times 200, then he's going to come back and get on Air Force One loaded. Well, not only does he go around fundraising, but they actually fundraise themselves. Slithery Clinton has raised so much money. Bernie Sanders has raised so much money. Rafael Cruz, John Kasich. Donald Trump didn't have to really raise any money. He's got his own. But it's just mind-boggling how they do this and how much do they need. Now, to add insult to injury, some of these old dried-up celebrities get into the fray and help hold fundraisers for the Democrats or the Republicans or what have you. Well, Mr. George Clooney, he he even admitted to his ludicrous behavior when he said that he raised obscene, these are his words, amounts of money. He told this to Mr. Chuck Todd of Meet the Press. $15 million for the Democratic presidential candidate Slithery Clinton. He asked people to contribute, get this, $353,400 to sit with him. With your permission, I'll say that again. $353,400 to sit with him and eat and talk about Slithery Clinton. That is ludicrous. I don't know of anybody I would pay $350,000 to sit down and eat with and talk about. Unless it was our dear departed grandmother. But I mean, some stupid political candidate who's not going to do anything for you once they get in office, and you're going to, there's an old saying that says, fools and their money soon depart. Do you know what you could do with $353,000? You could probably buy a nice home, a car, fill up your closet with, lots of new wardrobe, fill up your kitchen with food to last you the next 2 years, and probably even take a little vacation. It's just the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and it just shows how greedy these candidates really are, that they want to keep padding the kitty, padding the kitty, padding the kitty. Old Grandpa Sanders, I kind of have to give it to him that, there's too much money involved in this thing. You look back to the days of George Washington and those old fellas back then. They said George Washington was so poor he had to get somebody to help him go to his inauguration. There wasn't a lot of money, so therefore those good old politicians back then, and I'm sure there was some craziness. There's always craziness when politics come into play, but it wasn't insanity. like it is now. There's too much money floating around. As if Slithery doesn't have enough. Oh, well, she's got to go all the way to November, and she's going to need billions and billions, millions and millions of dollars. For what? For her to espouse her lies? I mean, this is crazy. And then anybody would expect that Mr. Clooney is going to raise all this money for these his person of choice, Slithery, and he's not going to expect anything for all this $15 million? Something sneaky has just entered the picture. All of these Goldman Sachs people that she's so tied up with contributing to her, giving her $250,000 for speeches. They're doing that for her just on general principle? I don't think so. Just as old Sanders says, you give something in order to get something. And if you don't pay the piper after you get your scroungy butt in office, uh-oh. So watch out for this, folks. All of this money going to all of these people buying a presidency, something to think about. But again, $353,400 a plate just to sit with this guy. He's not that great an actor for almost $500,000. Come on, no jerks. What can I say as far as money in politics? It never did smell too good to me. It always symbolized that whoever got in there had the most money, and now they owe these people. So if they're that busy trying to pay off their debts to these power brokers, to these people that raise money, $15 million and all this kind of thing, then how effective are they going to be in helping the United States with the problems that we face? It's something to think about, folks. Just had to throw that in there. Exec, you got anything about this insanity and money?
Well, that's pretty much what it is. People think that, he's that good of an actor, he demands that kind of price, especially to talk about a bag of garbage like that. It's just insane, Only one of these candidates, the one that we're actually kind of pulling for, has actually used some of that money that's supposed to be for campaign to actually try to help Americans. And if the rest of them would actually do that, and they would actually show the public what their true intentions are instead of wasting it on impugning other people. Donald Trump, when he didn't want to go to one of the debates because of Megan Smellies, you would call her, Megan Kelly, being there, and they had some kind of tiff, going back and forth. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm not going, and I'd rather do this veterans thing. And he got, I think, $10 million or something like around that amount. I may be mistaken, for the veterans. Mm-hmm. He's the only one that's done it.
Around 6 million.
6 million.
Something like that, yeah.
He's the only one that's done anything for Americans. And if the other ones would use their money for that, because once this is done, where's the money? People are impugned, the commercials are no longer needed to air, the money's just poof gone. But if they actually did it to benefit Americans, it would have been in use since they started, and to continue, hopefully, improving people's lives. But they don't do that. It's just a waste of money, in my opinion,
Well, my thing is it wasted, or does it end up in somebody's pocket? Because this woman has already raised over $200 million, her and old Grandpa Sanders talking about how much they raised. Now she gets an extra $15 million. I know commercials and things are expensive, but my God, after all is done, what's going on with that leftover money? I'm sure it doesn't go back into the pot. I think it goes in somebody's pocket. Mm-hmm. Knowing how crooked these people are. I mean, this bunch of politicians, they should call themselves organized criminals, because that's what they are. It's just a bunch of organized crime, and we, the American people, are getting shafted. So, go on, Slithery, with your bad self. $15 extra million in the pocket. Sure wish I could find some way to get somebody to give me $353,000 to sit with them. Is there anybody out there? Phil Taylor Jones would be happy to come and sit with you. If you'll give me $353,000, I could certainly use it. And I wouldn't smear anybody either. I'd probably smear some at my local Cadillac dealer. But anyway, folks, I mean, we're kind of, being whimsical and laughing about it, but it's really tragic, because all this money is being spent and raised, and if we end up with Slithery Clinton as president, then it was all in vain. It was a terrible thing, because to have her even go anywhere near the White House would be just an attempt in futility. She's a doomsday device, as we've said so many times. This woman has no good agenda. She's always talking about what's going on for women, and us poor guys ain't got a chance if she gets in there, because that's all she seems to care about on appearance. But we know the two women that she's mostly talking about. She's talking about her and her daughter Chelsea. The hell with all the rest of the women, just so long as she gets her scroungy butt in there. So I sincerely hope, with all this money rattling around, that we don't end up with her as a president. But I'm looking mighty afraid, because this voting thing, there's a big problem in New York. Has been a problem there for a long time, where some of the people that are independent, they have to be either or. They have to have registered like months before even the first debate happened. So much craziness with this. So many people are just thrown off the voting train. You just get out of here. They go to vote. Well, we don't have any record of you. We don't know who you are. It's too much crap going on. Too many people being against a certain candidate, like they're against Donald Trump. And, they're doing all kinds of nasty things, pulling all kinds of nasty punches. And then you factor in all this money. It's a sad state of affairs, American politics. It really is. It's shameful. But like I said, with all of this money floating around, you would at least think we'd get a good candidate out of it, other than Slithery Clinton. Just wanted to bring that up. I think the exec wants to throw in another tidy tidbit.
Really quick, even speaking of her, regardless of the Benghazi thing, the email thing, and any other scandal that she currently has, which should block her from being a presidential candidate because she's in trouble. But regardless of all that, the one fact that always sticks in my mind is that she left the White House with Bill and stole stuff from the White House. Why is she not blackballed from ever being near the White House again after having committed a crime against the White House like that?
$200,000 worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm. She should not be allowed anywhere near that, not even allowed to be a candidate. That's ridiculous.
Talk about sticky fingers. Anyway, let's just hope old sticky fingers Slithery doesn't make it this time, and hope that Donald gets in there. But anyway, I just had to bring you that, folks. Good Lord, I got to get my specs again on this one. $353,400 a plate to sit with this pitiful mess, so that he can raise money for another pitiful mess. Well, too much pitifulness in this for me. So I'm going to say, try to stay happy and stay safe. And hey, if you want to subscribe to us, the button's right over there. Just go on and press that if you so want to do so. If you have any kind of suggestions for us that you'd like to see us tackle, crazy subjects, let us know here at the Phil Taylor Jones Show, and we'll mush mouth this morning. We will be happy to get that out for you. And we want you to have a great weekend. We're careening towards the weekend, so stay safe, be happy, have a great one. We'll see you next time here on the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Bye-bye.